If your iPhone, iPad or Mac is full of videos, but you've got absolutely no idea which ones are taking up space, I've got you covered. Because using the Apple Shortcuts app, you can automate a lot of this in seconds. Apple Photos still doesn't make it easy to properly separate short clips from long videos, or quickly identify the biggest space-hogging files in your library. In this video, I'm going to show you two really useful shortcuts. One to help you find your largest videos and one to separate long videos from short clips so they are much easier to review. And stay with me to the end because I'll show you a really simple way to automate this monthly. So staying on top of your video clutter becomes much easier. Why this matters. Videos are usually the biggest storage drain in most photo libraries. Not photos, videos. The problem is they are surprisingly difficult to properly review inside Apple Photos. Long videos get mixed up with tiny clips, screen recordings, accidental recordings, and all sorts of random content, so you never really get a clear picture of what's actually taking up the space. Which means storage slowly fills up, clutter builds, and your library starts to feel more and more overwhelming, all while loads of videos sit there forgotten about. Because honestly, you can't manage what you can't see. Create an album for your videos. Before we build the shortcut itself, there's one setup step I strongly recommend first. Create a normal album in Apple Photos and add the videos you want to review into it. First, open Apple Photos and go down to the Media Types section in the sidebar. Then select Videos, so you're only viewing your video files. Next, select all the videos by pressing Command+A on Mac, or Control+A if you're on Windows running Apple Photos another way. Now right-click or secondary click and choose New Album. Create a new album and call it something like All Videos, or whatever makes the most sense to you. And don't worry, this doesn't duplicate your videos or take up extra storage. Albums in Apple Photos are really just references to the original files. The reason I recommend doing this is because it gives the shortcut one clean place to work from, instead of trying to search your entire library. And honestly, if you've ever had problems with Apple Shortcuts and Photos in the past, shared albums are often the reason, because shortcuts can't properly move or organize files inside shared albums, which can cause errors or stop parts of the shortcut working properly. So, using a normal album like this tends to be much more reliable. Once you've got your album ready, we can now build those shortcuts. Shortcut 1. Find your largest video files. Now let's build the first shortcut, and this is the one that's probably going to help the most if your storage is constantly full. This shortcut will automatically find the largest videos in your library and group them together in an album so you can quickly see which files are taking up the most space. And honestly, this is where people get the biggest surprises, because it's usually a handful of videos causing most of the problem. Open the Shortcuts app. If you don't already have it, you can download it from the App Store. Click the plus button to create a new shortcut. First, give your shortcut a name. I'm going to call mine Find Large Videos. Now go to the search box in the top right and search for photos. Select Find Photos, then double-click to add it to your shortcut. This is the action that tells shortcuts where to look. Click Add Filter and keep the filter set to Album Is. Then choose the album we created earlier, in my case, All Videos. Next, go back to the search box and search for Filter. Select Filter Images, then double-click to add it to your shortcut. Click Add Filter. Change the filter from width to file size. Leave it set to is greater than, then add the file size you want to search for. You can choose your unit here as well, such as megabytes. My test library is quite small, so my numbers are fairly low, but if you've got lots of videos, you'll probably want to choose a larger number. Technically, we could run the shortcut here, but I want the results to be useful afterwards, so we're going to put them into an album. Search again and add Create Photo Album to your shortcut. Give the album a name, something like Large Videos. Now you could leave it like that, but if you run this shortcut again later, it may create another album with the same name. So I like to add the date to the album name. After the words large videos, add an open bracket, then right-click or secondary click and choose Insert Variable and select Current Date. Change the date format to Short Date and you'll see the example date at the bottom. Then add a closing bracket to finish it off. Now click the play button at the top to run the shortcut. It will run and show you the results it found. And if we go back into Apple Photos, you can see it has created a new large videos album with today's date ready for you to review. Shortcut 2. Find your longest videos. Now let's build a second shortcut, and this one is really useful for actually reviewing your videos properly, because file size and video length aren't always the same thing. Some videos take up loads of space because they're high quality, while others are simply long recordings you may have completely forgotten about. And honestly, these are often the videos people struggle to review the most inside Apple Photos, because they get buried among tiny clips and random short recordings. Back in the Shortcuts app, click the plus button again to create another shortcut. This time, give it a name like Find Long Videos. Now we're going to build this very similarly to the previous shortcut, but instead of filtering by file size, we're going to filter by video length. Search again for Find Photos and add it to your shortcut. Click Add Filter, keep it set to Album Is, and select the same All Videos album we created earlier. Next, search for Filter Images and add that underneath. Click Add Filter again. But this time, instead of changing the filter to file size, change it to duration. Leave it set to is greater than, then enter the video length you want to search for. You can choose your units here as well, such as seconds or minutes. So for example, you might want to find everything longer than 30 seconds, 1 minute, or even 5 minutes, depending on what you're trying to review. Now, just like before, we want somewhere useful for those results to go. Add the Create Photo Album action again and give the album a name, something like Long Videos. And just like we did earlier, I'd also recommend adding the date to the album name. After the words Long Videos, add an open bracket, right-click, choose Insert Variable, and select Current Date. Change the format to Short Date, then add a closing bracket. Now press the play button at the top to run the shortcut. It will process the videos and create a new album with all the matching results grouped together. And if we jump back into Apple Photos, you can now see our new Long Videos album with today's date ready to review. And of course, you can use this exact same shortcut to find very short videos as well. So things like accidental clips, tiny recordings, or those random 1-second videos that quietly build up over time. All you need to do is go back to the Filter Images step and change is greater than to is less than. Then enter a number of seconds you want to search for. So for example, you could search for videos shorter than 1 second, 3 seconds or 5 seconds, depending on what you're trying to clean up. It's a really simple tweak, but honestly, it can make reviewing all those tiny clips much easier. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, okay, this explains why my library feels so chaotic, you are definitely not alone. Most people don't just have too many photos, they've also got years of videos, screen recordings, downloads, duplicates, and random clutter all mixed together as well. And shortcuts like this are brilliant for helping you surface the problem. But if you want a full step-by-step system for actually organizing everything properly long-term, that's exactly what I help with inside my Photo Mess Success courses. They guide you through reducing the clutter, organizing your photos properly, and setting up a system that's actually manageable to maintain. So if your photo library feels overwhelming and you want more than just quick fixes, you can find out more information at photomesssuccess.co.uk. Right, let me show you how I'd actually use shortcuts like this in the real world. How I'd actually use this. Now personally, I wouldn't just build one shortcut and leave it at that. I'd use a few different versions of these shortcuts for different review jobs. One for very long videos, one for tiny short clips, one for really large video files. because they all help surface different kinds of clutter inside your library. And something else worth checking is non-photo files. Sometimes downloads of PDFs or other random files can quietly end up inside Apple Photos and take up loads of space without you realizing. So for me, this is really about visibility. The shortcut helps you actually see what's sitting inside your library so you can review things properly and decide what genuinely needs keeping. Because this doesn't magically organize your photos for you, but it does make reviewing large or problematic videos much faster, much easier, and much less overwhelming. Bonus tip. And finally, here's one extra tip that makes these shortcuts much more useful long term. Don't just build them and forget about them. You can actually automate these shortcuts to run every month on your iPhone, which is a really nice way to stay on top of your video clutter before your storage becomes a problem again. To do this, open the Shortcuts app on your iPhone. Tap the Automation tab at the bottom, then tap to create a new automation. From here, choose Time of Day. Select the time you want it to run. I'm going to use 10 in the morning. Then change the repeat option to monthly. Pick the date you want it to run each month. Next, choose whether you want it to run automatically or only after confirmation. Then tap Next. Go to My Shortcuts and select one of the shortcuts you created earlier, like Find Large Videos or Find Long Videos. You'll now see your automation ready to run. Now, depending on your iPhone settings and iOS version, Apple may still ask to confirm the shortcut before it fully runs, especially because it's interacting with your Photos library. And slightly annoyingly, you can't create these monthly automations on the Mac version of Shortcuts at the moment. But because the shortcut is creating an album inside your Apple Photos, you'll still see all the results appearing on your Mac automatically through iCloud Photos. So honestly, using the iPhone for the automation side and the Mac for reviewing side actually works quite nicely, because staying on top of your video clutter a little at a time is far easier than waiting until your phone storage is completely full and everything feels overwhelming again. And if you want to continue cleaning up your Apple Photo library, check out this little video next, where I'll show you how to properly use the Apple Photos duplicate detection tool. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more photo organizing tips. Have fun rediscovering your memories. I'll see you in my next video.